another, 2.5 hour fundamental practice. I thought we got done what we needed to get done. We'll spend tomorrow mostly working on scout team work. Getting prepared for Buffalo, getting our scout teams prepared to give us a good look versus Buffalo, and especially a good look on Wednesday when we scrimmage Georgia versus Buffalo, our practice game. And then on Thursday we have a situational scrimmage to hit certain situations that may not have come up in Wednesday's scrimmage. So a lot of work. Working on Buffalo here, starting tomorrow. So I'm ready to answer your questions. Everything except for the injury report, which you'll get from Ron. And since you guys are out there making reports anyway, I guess we don't need to discuss anything. So, by the way, we're going to reduce the amount of periods that you guys are out there too. By the way, so no big deal. Normally I think it was 15 minutes. I'm already at 20. 5 too many, I guess. But anyway, let's go ahead and ask questions and have a good time.
Anything else?
I'm trying. You smile when you say things, so I can't get an idea if you're upset over something or not.
No, I'm bad at that. I'm okay. I'm okay. If I'm mad at anybody, it's myself. So.
You're obviously referring to, do we see Keith get up and hurt?
I don't know.
We tweet something about it. Heard he came back though.
You guys know more than I do, so. And we can talk about something besides injuries, though. That'd be good.
When is Malcolm gonna get some offensive practice work, or like you said?
Well, he's working again. He's been working after practice with Coach Ball while the defense is getting their conditioning. He's been spending some time with Coach Ball working on his wide receiver fundamentals and then some days, I think it probably just depends on how he feels, but some days the quarterback will stick around and throw a few routes with him. I don't know if it's been every day, last few practices. But, I was going to actually get up with Coach Bobo and start talking a little bit about what we think the plan ought to be, for game one. Like I've been saying all along, it won't, I think he'll get some offensive snaps game one, but how many and exactly how much we're going to try to practice with him and perfect with him, I don't know that yet. That's kind of about why we are trying to decide that.
Mark, I know you already said before that all your freshman running backs are going to play this year. But is there any way at all yet to gauge how far they've come since the start of camp, as opposed to maybe some other true freshmen who have come in at the same time?
I think they're really diligent guys. Of course, Keith Marshall was here in the spring. He had a big head start on just learning what to do. But the last few days, I've seen last couple of practices. There's been blitzes that have come at certain times, and where it's not like. Well, let me just back up. Sometimes you'll have a blitz pickup period, so you pretty much know it's going to be a blitz, and that drill is not quite the tempo of 11 on 11 or a scrimmage. It's good tempo, but it's not breakneck speed, because you're in that drill. There's no receivers. You're not even throwing a ball, so it's a little bit different than if you're an 11 on 11 and you're throwing the ball or in a scrimmage. So when you're in that drill, obviously it's a blitz pickup drill, so it's probably going to be a blitz most of the time, and so the guys have that kind of awareness and that mindset. Well, if you go to 11 on 11, you don't know what the coverage is going to be. You don't know if your guy's going to drop into coverage or if he's going to blitz or whatever it might be. And the tempo is a different tempo. It's a faster full speed tempo. So the point I'm getting to is the last couple 11 on 11s and even the last scrimmage, I saw our backs recognize it was a blitz who they had to pick up and do a really pretty good job. And even Quavon today did a nice job picking up a blitz up the middle. It was kind of I mean, it was a blitz that wasn't just real simple, and he didn't miss his assignment, and he took the guy on at the line of scrimmage, which is what we hope that he does, and you know, got the ball off. So I mean, I'm seeing good signs of them maturing, and to say to try to compare them to other true freshmen. Of course, we had Danny Ware who played, but Danny I think was a mid-year guy as well.
Yeah.
Who else?
He was prep school, as I was
He was
thinking.
prep school, but I
Thinking
think
out loud.
I think he did come at a mid-year, so I think he had a spring prior. Lumpkin, I don't know if he started the very first game, but Lumpkin started as a freshman. Thomas Brown started as a freshman. Somewhere along the line, I think Danny Ware was the first guy to go game one, and I think that's because there's a year Lumpkin I think tore his ACL. I think that's part of the reason why he played. But I think it's capable. You know, I think we're capable as a coaching staff to get freshmen ready to play in the first game, and these guys they'll be ready to play. Will they be perfect? No. Will they make some mistakes here and there? You know, hopefully not, but they probably will as we go. I'm not afraid to play them.
You're in the midst of 3 straight contact practices here. You know, we've talked about you got a small roster as it is. Injuries have been, as a coach, you probably want to knock on wood somewhere here now,
Right.
have been relatively low this camp and this
Very
spring.
low.
Do you owe any of that to anything you're doing in strength and conditioning, or being on? I noticed you've been on the grass fields the entire time.
Right,
as well.
we're in the grass the whole time, which I think helps. We were practicing in the morning instead of the afternoon during camp, and we really thought it was going to be hot in the afternoons for the next 3 weeks, and it's been pretty mild, as you can tell. I think that helps. I think that our guys I think they had a great summer of conditioning. I think they've been recovering faster. I think we've added a lot of post-practice stretching, which I think has helped them. And then sometimes it's just you're fortunate.
How much thought went into deciding that Canarius was going to be the left tackle? What led you all to decide that he was right for the job?
Well, we thought he had the right body type, and we thought that he's athletic enough to do that. I mean, I think you have to start with the guy's ability to protect the passer at left tackle. I think there's more of a premium on pass protection than there is run blocking. If you can't pass set quickly enough to block an edge rusher, or to get on the guy. I mean, if you're not quick enough to even make contact, because sometimes when a Jarvis Jones comes off the edge, full speed, there's some guys that can't even get out of their stance and get set where they even get their hands on them. So you have to be athletic enough to do that, and you hope that they're tall enough and long enough arms. I mean, a lot of that pass protection stuff is you're hoping as a tackle or a guard to get your hand on that guy's chest. And of course, that guy's trying to do the same thing to you to try to control you. And if your arms aren't very long, and you might have your hand on the chest, but his arms are longer than yours, he's gonna win the fight. He's gonna control your body. So you got to have long enough arms to do it. And he's played in enough games where we felt like he was just the best candidate physically for the job. As far as could it have been Theus over there? Maybe, but I think we've got it in the right place right now.
Mark, when it comes to kicker punter competitions, at what point would you like to be able to say, okay, this is our guy at each of those 2 spots?
Well, right this minute we're working the freshmen. They're getting the majority of the reps right now. They're getting enough. They're getting the amount of reps that you would give a starter. And again, I'm not going to say every positions are closed, because I really don't say that they are, but right now they're getting the majority of the reps, and they're in the lead. They're both in the lead right now.
We've asked you roster attrition questions plenty of times before. When you deal with a situation like that, is that the reason that it looks like y'all have gone to the JUCO route a little more for this upcoming signing class than normal?
Well, if I gotta make sure I'm not saying anything I shouldn't say, but I don't think this would be a problem. if you're going to sign a relatively large class, I think you would you'd like to have some age difference. If every single guy you bring in is a freshman, that's a lot of freshmen to have in one class, and so you do want to break it up with some junior college guys that. So you don't have too many guys at one position in the same class.
You know that line that's in the contract that says something like, the number of JUCO guys should be kept relatively low and
Yeah.
decided upon
Well,
by.
basically, yeah. When you were about to finish that statement, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I think you were about to say that there had to be, communication between
Right.
myself and
In grade.
and Greg.
How do you guys gauge that? What is
Yeah.
too many?
Well, I don't know. Yeah, I think any given year, I think what we don't want to do is, what happens is if you sign a lot of junior college kids, then sometimes you get into that cycle where you have to continue to do it. And so we've never, since I've been at Georgia, built our classes around the absolute necessity of bringing in a junior college. There's been some guys I've never brought in a junior college. There's been some years we've brought in 3 or 4. It's normally been predicated on a need at any one given position. If there's attrition because of injuries or whatever it may be, guys transferring. Sometimes you need some help, and you need some help from a mature guy, physically and football wise, that might be able to come in and play for you right away. And then if you every once in a while, if there's just a superior talent at a certain position, if he can upgrade you immediately, you go for him too. But we really, I think if you looked at all the years I've been at Georgia, we haven't done that a lot. But I think, I don't know really for sure why it was in there, because I don't think there's any history of us
Right.
doing that a lot. So, but this year again, in particular, we have a lot of kids that we're going to bring in, and so I think it is good to break it up with some age differences.
Mark, have you pushed along Josh Harvey Clemens and Sheldon Dawson at a faster pace, knowing that you might need some help there early in the season?
Yeah, they're getting a lot of reps. By the way, Sheldon's made a bunch of plays out there. He's already proved to me that physically he has the tools to play that position. He's still learning, and he'll get better at what he does. But sometimes the bottom line is you got to have the physical ability to play the position and stick with the receiver and that type of thing. And he has that, and he plays the ball very well as well. And he's got a history of some offensive, the ability to play offensive football. So a lot of times that equates into a pretty good corner. And I think he's got some toughness about him too. He's got a ways to go. And then Josh Harvey Clemens is you get a ton of reps, and there's no question that he's gonna be in there playing scrimmage downs and special teams downs.
Good time for 2 more.
So does it seem almost ironic that this past freshman class was so small, but it
Yeah.
seems like you're
Might
going
have
to get a
more.
lot out of it?
Yeah, no, it really has been. We're pleased with them, and they're not. They don't seem overwhelmed. I mean, they get frustrated at times, but and I do see veteran players teaching and coaching and not giving them a hard time when they struggle. They've been there to really help them, which has been a good sign too. Our guys are smart enough to know when a guy has ability and when a guy might be able to help us, or that we may need help. Need somebody, guys to step in and help us. So if this is one of those years we had so much depth and a bunch of veterans, and we knew those cats weren't going to play, they'd probably be busting their chops a little bit more. But now I think they're just trying to be ready.
It seems like whenever we ask about the freshman outside linebackers, we always ask about them as a group. What's the biggest thing about Dawson that separates him from the other two?
Well, Dawson, they're all different. I wouldn't say Dawson has exceeded anybody else's played at this point, but what I think makes him good is that he does play very hard. I think he's learning very quickly, and he really, in the 2 months that he's been here, I don't know what they said he picked up. He picked up at least 15 pounds. I mean, he physically, he's probably at least 20 pounds heavier than the day we signed him, or even, you know, got him to commit or whatever. He's a bigger man than he was then too. So I think all those things are helping him.
Thank you.